looking at maybe bringing a team to Vegas. I think Seattle is being talked about. I don't know if there's anybody else, but I think those are the two franchises, and obviously he's kind of looking at the one in Vegas. What type of owner you think LeBron would make?
I don't know. Players, it's going to be a lot harder for a player, right? We saw Michael Jordan, right? Great guy, had some success, but not as much as he wanted, right? It's hard because players have one mindset and they look at other players in a certain way. You know,
man, why you can't do that? I could do that.
I can do it. Let me show you, right? I'm Michael Jordan. I'm 55 years old. I'm going to whoop your ass, right? But yeah, it's just a completely different perspective that's hard to disconnect yourself from. And it's hard to be objective and not have your player mindset. And so like when you've seen general managers that are former players, they're not the great players that were, that are good general managers. It's the role players that got to watch everybody else and understand how to fit these pieces together. And so for any superstar, it's going to be hard.
Being an owner, what's a typical day for Mark Cuban when you were the full-time owner of the Mavericks? What's a typical day? What time do you wake up, and what's your schedule?
So it depends what part of the season it is.
Okay.
So during the off season is when I had to do most of the work, right? Because of free agency and the draft and everything. So that's where I had to pay the most attention. And then when you get to the trade deadline, that's another time when you have to pay a lot of attention. Otherwise, I'm just screaming and yelling, right? There's, as long as there's, and it also depends if you're winning or losing. If you're winning, it's easy. Everything just goes. If you're losing, and you don't want to lose because there's rebuilding, and then there's losing when you think you're going to win. And when you're losing when you think you're going to win, that's when an owner has to do its stuff, right? Because you've got to communicate, you've got to make decisions. What about, is it the coach? Is it the players? Is it the general manager? And is it the decisions we made? Is it chemistry? Why are we not performing the way we expected this team to perform? That's when it's hard as an owner because you got to figure it out. I mean, I remember like it was 2008 maybe, we were playing in Sacramento and it was later than that. But in any event, we were playing in Sacramento and we just were not playing hard. And I remember I've only given probably 4 locker room speeches, right? And I walked into the locker room and I started pointing at different guys. Yo, did you get your paycheck this week? Yeah. Did you get your paycheck this week? And I went around to all of them. You get your paycheck this week? And they all said yes. Then motherfucking play like you got your paycheck, right? Because you aren't doing shit, right? And
as a former NFL player, I know a thing or two about high performance, and that's why I drive the BMW 7 Series. This car has everything I need. It's big enough, comfortable enough, and luxurious enough to meet even my high expectations. When I'm behind the wheel of the BMW, I'm not just driving a car, I'm driving legacy. What I love most is the precision engineering, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched style, whether it's spacious interior, the powerful engine, or the smooth ride. BMW makes sure every detail is on point. I trust BMW to deliver the ultimate driving experience, and I know you will too. So why wait? Head over to BMWUSA.com. Check out models like the sporty X3, the all-electric i4. Build your dream car today and join me in experiencing luxury and performance that only the ultimate driving machine can offer. So I can imagine the looks like.
And we lost that game.
Do owners ever, because I heard you say you're like, is it the coach, is it the players, is it the GM, is it anything else in the staff? Do owners ever look at themselves like, is it me? Is it something
of course.
I do?
Oh, all the time, right? Because it's my final responsibility, like we said before. And you're going to make mistakes. And I've made plenty, I traded early on. I traded for this one dude, and literally I thought he was the Unabomber. I thought he was going to blow shit up, like for real blow shit up. And I'm like, what the hell did I do, And at the beginning, it was just like, okay, let's see if we can integrate him. It just wasn't going to work out. So he was just on the Stairmaster all day, every day, and that was it. And because we couldn't trade him. He wasn't tradable. But so you make mistakes like that, and you just got to own it,
right?
In the early days when I first bought, you could kind of buy your way out of mistakes and buy your way into a better team because there are a lot more old school owners. Now there's, either super rich people or private equity groups, and they can afford to play the whole game. Back in the early days, and the 2000s, there were a lot of old school owners.
Mom and pops.
Yeah, mom and pops that have been there 40 years, right? And, you could buy a draft pick for $3 million. And I'd be like, okay, make a trade and take on $25 million in salary to save their ass.
Right.
Okay, but you can't even do that in the CBA anymore. And now they have a lot more money, so they're like, okay, I'll buy that pick. Get the fuck out of here.
Mark, you made a decision that you sold a majority share of the Mavericks. And I know with the Mavericks, of all the companies, I think the Mavericks are your baby. I think they meant the most to you.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever been for 24 years, right?
Right. How difficult, how did you come to that decision? And was that a difficult decision? Because I'm sure you thought long and hard, like, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not. I'm going to do it. No, I'm not.
I mean, it had more to do, well, there was only two reasons, right? One, because of my family, right? I'm at that age now, I'm not going to be around for 30 years, right? And so my kids, my kids now are 15, 18, and 21. Are they going to want to run this? And what if they decide not to? And then what do I do, right? And so that was the biggest thing. And what sports are like too, was also, I don't want to just automatically put pressure on them. It's great when you're winning, right? Everybody wants to run a team when you're winning.
Correct.
But when the shit's hitting the fan and you suck, and you know what social media is like, and kids are on social media all the time, didn't want to put my kids in a position where they're like, and they have to deal with that stuff while they're just developing as adults. So that was one. And number two, to compete in the NBA now is expensive. Not all teams make money. It's not like the NFL. And in order to have the money to be able to do whatever you need, luxury tax, whatever it may be, it's not just about technology or tickets or TV anymore. Like technology, okay, I got that down, right? TV, media, I got that shit down too. Streaming, got that shit down. But now you got to build real estate. I don't know shit about real estate and never did. And so when I had a chance to work with Patrick Dumont, starting years ago, we would talk all the time about bringing, resort-based casino gaming to Dallas or to Texas. And, he would talk about what it takes to build a casino and to build a new arena that fit in there. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this. And so if the Mavs were going to compete, I was going to have to learn all that stuff. And honestly, I don't want to learn it. And if it was going to take $2 billion in cash to make all that work, Steve Ballmer's got that. I don't have that $2 billion, right? I do now, which I'm happy about.
But now you don't want to build. Now you don't want to build.
Well, no, it's just didn't know, right? It'd be one thing. I could have borrowed it and all that stuff, but I would have had to learn it. Or I would have had to just trust somebody. And that's just not my style.
That's a lot of money to trust somebody.
That's a lot of money to trust and a lot on the line. And so now I've got a great partner who will, going to improve the arena we have today. We'll build something new. We'll be able to make a destination that Dallas will be proud of. And he knows things. He's forgotten more about building than I've ever known. And so it makes a great partner, which puts the Mavs in a much better position to compete.
Right. Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because we like to do something before two something.